Have you ever felt your mind spiral out of control, your heart racing, and your thoughts screaming at you, even when nothing around you seems dangerous? That sharp tension in your chest, the heat in your face, the way every small problem feels like a mountain. It's exhausting, isn't it? Imagine for a moment if that storm inside you could be quieted at will. Imagine holding a sense of calm so deep, so steady, that chaos outside feels like nothing more than background noise. That calm isn't a dream. It isn't something reserved for a few lucky people. It is a skill you can train. It is a power you can claim. And the moment you begin to harness it, life stops being a series of crises and becomes a series of choices. Every reaction, every challenge, every unexpected event becomes something you meet with clarity, with control, and with confidence. Stress tells you that you are powerless. It whispers that the world is too fast, too loud, too much for you to handle. And when your mind surrenders to that whisper, fear takes over, decisions become frantic, and your body suffers. But what if you could learn to hear the whisper and respond in your own way, calmly, intentionally, without letting it dictate your emotions or your actions? Science tells us that the brain is remarkably adaptable. Your thoughts, your reactions, your very sense of control are built from patterns that can be reshaped, rewired, strengthened. Every time you practice calm, every time you pause before reacting, you are training your mind like a muscle. You are strengthening a reflex that can become automatic. Picture yourself facing a situation that once would have triggered panic or anger. Picture yourself instead breathing steadily, your mind clear, your focus unshakable. That clarity doesn't just feel good, it gives you power to think clearly when others panic, power to speak calmly when others lash out, power to take action instead of being swept away by reaction. The people who seem unshakable aren't born that way. They have learned to take control of their internal world first. They have trained their minds to navigate the storms without letting the storms navigate them. And so can you. By the time this video is over, you will understand the tools, the mindset, and the practices that can make calm your default state, not your rare escape. You will see that calm is not weakness. It is courage. It is not passivity. It is mastery. And once you begin applying these methods, you will notice something remarkable. The world does not need to change for your life to feel lighter, more in control, more free. Your mind changes first, and everything else follows. Stay with this journey because what you learn here can change how you move through every single day. The tension, the worry, the pressure, they don't have to control you. You can face them, not with fear, not with resistance, but with a quiet strength that grows with every breath, every moment of awareness, every choice to respond rather than react. This is the promise of training your mind to stay calm. A life lived with clarity, with courage, and with the freedom to act from your center, no matter what the world throws at you. And if you commit to this, if you allow yourself to learn and to practice, you will begin to experience a kind of peace that is not dependent on circumstances, but on the way you move through them. That peace is yours to claim, starting now. Before you can master calm, you must first see yourself clearly. Most of us move through life reacting without noticing the sparks that ignite our anxiety. A rude comment, a sudden change in plans, a failure that stings more than it should. These moments trigger automatic reactions, and yet few of us stop to ask why. What if the key to control was simply awareness? What if understanding your triggers could give you the power to pause, to choose, to respond differently every single time? The first step to training your mind is observing yourself without judgment, noticing the exact moments when tension rises, when your chest tightens, when your thoughts begin to race. Awareness is not weakness. It is the doorway to mastery. Every trigger you recognize is a thread you can untangle. Every moment of self-awareness is a crack in the illusion that life controls you. These triggers are not enemies, they are signals, messages from your body and mind showing you where you have room to grow. When you begin to identify them, you no longer live in the dark, reacting blindly to every stimulus. You start to step into the light, seeing clearly the moments that once controlled you. That clarity itself is freeing. It gives you the ability to respond intentionally rather than react impulsively. And that difference between reaction and response is the foundation of calm. Think of the most stressful situations you face. Picture them clearly. Now imagine stepping back just enough to notice the exact thought, the exact physical sensation, the exact emotional spike that flares up inside you. This act of noticing rewires your brain. Research shows that awareness strengthens the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for rational thought, decision-making, and emotional regulation. Every time you pause and observe, you are literally building new pathways, creating new habits of mind that favor calm over chaos. What once happened automatically, the panic, the frustration, the spiraling thoughts, can now be met with a deliberate choice. You might feel hesitant. You might think, this sounds simple, but I am too overwhelmed for awareness to make a difference. And yet, it is in those exact moments of overwhelm that awareness becomes your greatest weapon. Even a single breath noticed, a single tension recognized, can stop a chain reaction before it begins. This small but powerful act says, I am not a passenger in my own life. I am the driver. I am aware. I am conscious. I am present. That awareness is not just an observation, it is a declaration of control, a first step toward an unshakable mind. Every day the world will present chaos. That is inevitable. But the more you train yourself to recognize your triggers, the more you step into a place of choice. You begin to understand that your mind does not have to be swept along by circumstance. You can respond with clarity, with focus, with the calm that shapes outcomes rather than being shaped by them. Awareness is not passive. It is power in its purest form. It allows you to face challenges, to encounter stress, to meet conflict, not with fear, not with frustration, but with a quiet, resolute strength that grows stronger every time you notice, every time you choose, every time you refuse to be controlled. The moment you commit to seeing yourself fully, you step into freedom. You step into the understanding that calm is not granted by the world, it is cultivated within you. Every trigger you recognize is another step toward mastery. Every moment of self-awareness is another piece of armor against chaos. And with each step, each recognition, each conscious breath, you move closer to the kind of inner strength that does not waver, that does not bend, and that turns every storm into an opportunity to stand taller, steadier, unshakable. Once you can recognize the sparks of tension and fear within you, the next step is to take control of the most immediate tool at your disposal, your breath. It is easy to underestimate, something so simple, so automatic, and yet it holds the key to regulating your nervous system, grounding your thoughts, and restoring clarity in moments of chaos. Every rapid heartbeat, every shallow gasp, every held breath is a signal from your body that stress has taken over, and every conscious inhalation, every steady exhalation is a signal that you are reclaiming your power. Breath is the bridge between mind and body, the first line of defense against the overwhelm that threatens to consume you. When you breathe with awareness, you are not just moving air in and out of your lungs, you are sending a message to your nervous system that you are in control, that you are present, that you are ready to respond rather than react. Science confirms it. Slow, deliberate breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the part of your body that calms, heals, and restores balance. Cortisol drops, heart rate slows, and the mind sharpens. What feels like a small action, one deep breath, one steady exhale, has the power to transform the course of your day, the trajectory of your decisions, the quality of your life. Imagine a moment of intense stress, a confrontation, a looming deadline, a sudden crisis. Your instincts scream at you to react immediately, to lash out, to panic, to run. And yet, with just a conscious breath, you interrupt that automatic response. You create space. You create distance between stimulus and reaction. That space is freedom. That space is choice. That space is the birthplace of calm. Each inhalation fills you with focus. Each exhalation releases tension. You are no longer a prisoner to your racing thoughts. You are the observer, the controller, the one who decides how energy flows through your body and mind. This is not a one-time fix. True mastery comes from repetition, from training your mind to return to this calm reflex automatically, even under pressure. Every breath you take with attention is a repetition, a practice, a wiring of your neural pathways toward clarity and control. With time, the breath becomes a tool you do not have to think about consciously. It becomes instinctive, a silent guardian that keeps you centered no matter what erupts around you. You are building resilience, not by avoiding stress, but by confronting it with a strategy that strengthens your inner world. Consider how life would shift if, in every moment of tension, you could step back, breathe, and respond with clarity. The arguments that once left you drained, the deadlines that once made your mind spiral, the sudden shocks that once sent adrenaline surging, all of them become manageable. You become unshakable, not because the world has changed, but because you have learned the power of conscious breath. You can face fear, frustration, and chaos without surrendering to them. Each inhalation reminds you that you are alive. Each exhalation reminds you that you are free. When you make breathing a practice, a ritual, a daily anchor, you are not just calming your body, you are training your mind to stay steady, to stay present, and to stay in control. Every breath is a declaration: I am here, I am aware, I am not a victim of circumstance. Calm is no longer something you chase, it becomes a state you inhabit, a skill you wield, and a power that grows stronger every time you choose it. As you master awareness and conscious breathing, the next layer of calm is rooted in the way you think. Thoughts are powerful forces, shaping your reality before any action is taken. Every assumption, every judgment, every internal story you tell yourself fuels your emotional state. Anxiety thrives on autopilot thinking, on the belief that situations are bigger than your capacity to handle them. But what if you could take control of those thoughts? What if you could pause, question, and redirect them before they pull your body and mind into chaos? Your mind can become a sanctuary, a space where clarity and composure rule, rather than fear and frustration. Begin by noticing the nature of your thoughts. Are they harsh? Are they critical? Do they replay worst-case scenarios endlessly? The key is not to suppress them, but to observe them with the same awareness you bring to your breath. Awareness of thought is the foundation of mental resilience. When you notice a negative or reactive thought arising, you create a gap between stimulus and response. In that gap, you hold the power to decide. In that gap, you reclaim calm. Every time you choose a thought that serves clarity over chaos, you are rewiring your mind, reinforcing patterns that favor control, focus, and presence. Reframing is a tool you can use immediately. When the mind screams, "This is too much. I can't handle this," you can respond silently and deliberately, "I am capable. I have faced challenges before. I can handle this moment." Simple statements like this are not empty affirmations. They are the architecture of a mind trained to remain composed under pressure. Research shows that cognitive reframing reduces stress responses, calms the nervous system, and increases problem-solving ability. Every time you reframe, you are literally reshaping your neural pathways, strengthening calm and weakening the automatic grip of panic. Your thoughts are often fueled by what you expect to happen, by stories you tell yourself about the future or the past. The mind loves certainty, even when that certainty is fear. By focusing your attention on the present moment, on what you can control right now, you remove the fuel that feeds stress. You shift from reactive thinking to strategic thinking. The world no longer feels like an unpredictable storm you cannot weather. It becomes a challenge you can meet with composure, clarity, and confidence. The present is your ally. It is the only space where true calm can exist. Every time you practice controlling your thoughts, you step closer to mastery. The challenges that once felt overwhelming become manageable. The unexpected does not trigger panic. It calls forth your trained mind, your steady breath, your conscious awareness. You are no longer a prisoner of circumstance. You are the architect of your own mental state. Calm becomes not a fleeting moment, but a default mode. Your mind becomes a place of clarity, your heart a source of courage, and your body a vessel of resilience. The power of thought is subtle, yet transformative. It is in the moments when others surrender to fear that you stand firm, guided by clarity, strengthened by intentional thinking, and anchored in calm. Each conscious thought, each deliberate pause, each reframed perspective builds momentum. Calm is no longer something you seek, it is something you cultivate, a skill that shapes your life from the inside out. By training your mind to think with awareness and purpose, you unlock a freedom that no circumstance can take away. You become unshakable, Not because the world has changed, but because your mind has. Control over your thoughts is only part of the equation. True calm requires mastery over your emotions. Emotions are powerful, immediate, and often overwhelming. They surge through your body with force, demanding attention, dictating reactions, and coloring every perception. Fear, anger, frustration, they can hijack your mind in an instant, making clarity seem impossible. But emotions are not enemies. They are signals, messages from your body and mind, showing you what matters, what challenges you, what needs attention. The key is not to eliminate emotion, but to manage it, to respond to it intentionally, and to prevent it from controlling your actions. The first step in emotional mastery is acknowledgement. Every time tension rises, every time anger flares, every time anxiety grips, pause and notice it. Label it. This is fear. This is frustration. This is stress. By identifying the emotion, you remove part of its power. The moment of recognition allows you to step out of automatic reaction and into deliberate response. Neuroscience confirms this. Simply naming emotions reduces activity in the amygdala, the part of the brain that triggers fight or flight responses. You are not a victim of your feelings. You are a conscious observer, capable of guiding them rather than being swept away by them. Next comes the choice to respond rather than react. When emotion rises, the instinct is to act immediately, to lash out, to defend, to resist. But each reactive response deepens stress, fuels chaos, and reinforces the very patterns that leave you feeling powerless. By consciously choosing to pause, to breathe, to assess, you break the cycle. You reclaim control. You tell yourself, silently and firmly, that you are stronger than the moment, that you can feel without being ruled by feeling. That calm is not avoidance, it is mastery. Emotion also thrives on story. Anger builds on imagined slights. Fear grows from what-ifs. Frustration escalates from expectations unmet. By noticing the stories your mind tells to justify your emotion, you gain a powerful tool. You can step back and say, this story is not reality. I choose how I respond to it. That recognition dissolves intensity, creates space for rational thought, and anchors you in the present. Emotions are no longer storms you endure. They are currents you navigate with skill and awareness. Consistent practice strengthens this skill. Each time you observe, name, and redirect emotion, you reinforce neural pathways that favor composure, clarity, and resilience. You are training a reflex that will grow stronger over time until calm becomes your default, even in high-pressure situations. The world will continue to challenge you. Life will continue to demand, push, and provoke, but you will face it differently. You will face it with a mind trained to stay steady, a heart trained to stay balanced, and a body that carries calm naturally. Emotional mastery is not weakness, it is courage. It is not detachment, it is control. It is the difference between living life as a passive responder and living it as an intentional creator. Every moment you choose calm over reaction, every breath you take before acting, every thought you guide instead of letting guide you, builds an unshakable foundation. You are training not just to survive life, but to thrive in it, to move through it with strength, clarity, and unyielding peace. This is the power that comes when your mind and emotions are aligned. This is the freedom that comes when calm is your choice, not your escape. Calm is not just a state of mind. It is a habit, a skill, and a practice that must be cultivated in every moment, not only in moments of chaos. Your environment, your routines, and even the people you surround yourself with shape your ability to maintain composure. If you constantly expose yourself to noise, distraction, and negativity, your mind becomes restless, your emotions fragile, and your focus scattered. To train your mind to stay calm, you must first design the conditions that support it. This means creating mental space, simplifying the clutter around you, and choosing the influences that elevate rather than drain your energy. Begin by examining the patterns in your daily life. How often do you check your phone, scroll through news, or react impulsively to notifications? How often do you fill your day with endless tasks, leaving no room for pause, reflection, or rest? Each of these small choices chips away at your inner calm, conditioning your mind to respond to constant stimulation rather than deliberate focus. By intentionally setting boundaries, by carving out moments of stillness, you reinforce the neural circuits that favor calm, clarity, and presence. It is in these small, consistent actions that the foundation for unshakable composure is built. Equally important is the quality of the information and energy you consume. Negative conversations, endless arguments, and fear-driven media create a constant undercurrent of tension. To cultivate calm, you must become selective. Protect your mind from unnecessary noise. Surround yourself with ideas, people, and experiences that inspire, challenge, and elevate you. Every thought you allow to settle in your mind shapes your emotional and mental state. When you choose wisely, you fortify your ability to stay grounded, to remain centered in the eye of any storm, and to act from clarity rather than chaos. Calm thrives on routine. A structured day, anchored in intentional habits, builds resilience without requiring constant effort. Begin with small, deliberate practices, a few minutes of mindful breathing, a brief period of reflection, or a daily review of your priorities. These rituals create stability and predictability within your mind, signaling to your nervous system that you are in control. Over time, these habits accumulate, forming a buffer against the unpredictable pressures of life. Calm becomes not a rare occurrence, but the natural default of your mind and body. Physical environment matters too. Clutter, chaos, and disorder mirror the internal turbulence of the mind. Organize your space, simplify your surroundings, and create pockets of tranquility that support reflection and focus. A calm external environment cultivates a calm internal state. Every intentional choice to reduce distraction, remove noise, and simplify complexity strengthens the pathways in your brain that favor composure. You are teaching yourself, moment by moment, that peace is possible, that clarity is attainable, and that control is not only a skill but a lifestyle. By consciously designing your life to support calm, you are no longer at the mercy of circumstance. You are shaping an environment that empowers you, reinforces your training, and nurtures resilience. Each decision to simplify, each boundary you set, each habit you establish builds momentum. Your mind becomes a sanctuary. Your emotions become steady. Your body responds with ease. Calm becomes more than a reaction to stress. It becomes a practice, a lifestyle, and a source of unstoppable strength. You are no longer chasing peace. You are living it, moment by moment, choice by choice, breath by breath. Discipline is the bridge between intention and mastery. You can understand calm, observe your thoughts, and create supportive environments, but without discipline, these insights remain potential rather than power. Discipline is the muscle that allows you to act even when your mind resists, when emotions surge, when the world presses against you. Every time you choose to pause, to breathe, to respond with awareness, instead of reacting impulsively, you strengthen this muscle. Over time, the act of maintaining calm becomes effortless, not because stress disappears, but because your inner control becomes unshakable. Begin by committing to small, consistent acts of self-mastery. It may be as simple as taking 3 deep breaths before speaking in a heated moment, or pausing before answering a difficult email. Each deliberate pause is a victory over automatic reaction, a demonstration that you are in command of your mind and body. Neuroscience proves that repeated actions reinforce neural pathways. Every act of discipline physically rewires your brain to favor calm over chaos, control over panic, and intention over impulse. What seems small today becomes monumental tomorrow, as each disciplined choice compounds into unwavering resilience. Discipline also requires honesty. You must observe where you fall short without judgment, where old patterns still hold sway, and where you surrender to fear or impatience. Awareness of these moments is not failure, it is fuel. Every recognition of weakness is an opportunity to act differently, to choose consciously, to strengthen the very skill that separates those who endure stress from those who thrive in it. The most disciplined minds are not those without struggle, they are those who acknowledge struggle and face it with unwavering commitment to growth and mastery. Consistency is the essence of discipline. Calm is not found in isolated acts, but in the accumulation of repeated deliberate actions. Each moment you respond with awareness, rather than reaction. Each time you guide your thoughts with intention, each time you regulate your emotions rather than suppress them, you are building a foundation that cannot be shaken. Life will test you. Challenges will come without warning. But when discipline is embedded into your daily rhythm, your response to chaos becomes predictable, controlled, and powerful. You become a force of steadiness in a world that thrives on turbulence. The power of disciplined calm extends beyond self-mastery. It influences every interaction, every decision, and every environment you inhabit. When you remain composed, you inspire composure in others. When you act from clarity instead of stress, you elevate outcomes rather than complicate them. Discipline transforms not just your inner world, but the external world around you. It allows you to operate with precision, make decisions with confidence, and navigate challenges with a sense of certainty that few possess. Embrace discipline not as a restriction, but as a liberation. It frees you from the tyranny of impulsive thought, reactive emotion, and chaotic circumstance. It anchors your mind, steadies your heart, and empowers your body to respond with mastery. Every moment you commit to conscious action, every pause you take before responding, every choice to guide thought and emotion intentionally builds the unshakable foundation of calm. You are no longer at the mercy of life. You are a master of your inner state. Discipline transforms potential into power, thought into action, and stress into opportunity. You are becoming unstoppable. Focus is the engine that drives calm. Without it, discipline becomes fragmented, awareness becomes scattered, and your mind drifts into chaos. Focus is the ability to direct your attention deliberately, to hold it steady even when distractions, emotions, and external pressures compete for dominance. It allows you to act with precision, think with clarity, and respond to life with composure. When focus is cultivated intentionally, calm is no longer a fleeting state. It becomes a continuous practice, a reflex, and a default setting of your mind. Every time your mind wanders, every time you notice distraction pulling you away from the present moment, pause and bring it back. This simple act of redirecting attention is the training ground for sustained calm. Neuroscience shows that repeated practice in attention control strengthens the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for decision-making, emotional regulation, and impulse control. You are physically reshaping your brain to favor focus over fragmentation, clarity over confusion, and calm over chaos. Each moment you return your mind to intention, you are building mental resilience that will serve you in every aspect of life. Focus requires prioritization. You cannot hold every thought, every task, every worry in equal regard and maintain calm. You must decide what deserves your attention and what does not. This is not avoidance, it is strategic alignment. By directing energy toward what truly matters, you conserve mental resources, reduce stress, and create space for composure. Every choice to focus selectively strengthens your ability to remain unshaken in the face of pressure. The mind becomes like water, fluid, clear, and able to flow around obstacles instead of being blocked by them. Clarity of focus also transforms perception. When your attention is disciplined, your mind perceives challenges differently. Problems shrink. Solutions appear more obvious. Emotional reactions soften. You begin to see situations not as crises to escape, but as opportunities to exercise mastery. The act of focusing sharpens your awareness of reality, allowing you to respond to life as it is, not as fear or anxiety distorts it. This clarity is a shield, a lens, and a weapon against chaos. Focus, like all skills, requires practice. Begin by controlling small moments of attention, breathe deeply, and direct your mind to one thought, one action, one goal. Resist the pull of distraction, notice when attention drifts, and gently return it. Over time, these small acts compound. The brain begins to favor sustained attention. The mind becomes naturally anchored. Emotional reactivity diminishes. Calm becomes instinctive, even when life is unpredictable. By cultivating focus, you reclaim the most powerful asset you have, your mind. You can choose what to notice, how to respond, and where to direct your energy. Focus turns intention into action, thought into strategy, and stress into mastery. It is the invisible hand that guides calm through chaos, precision through confusion, and control through turbulence. Each act of directed attention strengthens your inner state, transforming you into a presence that is steady, resilient, and unshakable. With focus, calm is no longer a goal. It is the natural outcome of a mind that is fully awake, fully aware, and fully in command. Awareness is the gateway to control. Without it, focus and discipline operate blindly, and calm becomes fragile. Awareness is the conscious recognition of your thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations. It is the ability to observe without judgment, to see what is happening within and around you, and to respond rather than react. Every moment you cultivate awareness, you strengthen the foundation of calm. You begin to notice the subtle signs of tension before they escalate. You recognize the patterns of your mind before they control you. Awareness gives you the power to step out of automatic reactions and into deliberate mastery. Start by observing your emotions in real time. Notice how anger rises, how frustration builds, how fear tightens your chest or accelerates your heartbeat. Label these sensations without shame or criticism. Simply acknowledge them. Neuroscience shows that labeling emotions engages the prefrontal cortex, helping regulate the amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for fight or flight responses. In other words, awareness interrupts automatic reactivity and gives you the space to respond with calm rather than be swept away by instinct. Awareness also extends to your thoughts. How often does your mind replay past mistakes or imagine worst-case scenarios? How often do you dwell on what you cannot control? By noticing these thought patterns, you create distance between yourself and the chaos they generate. You are no longer a passive participant in your mental landscape. You become an observer, a conscious navigator of your inner world. This shift is transformative. It allows you to choose which thoughts deserve energy and which should be released. Physical awareness is equally important. The body often signals tension before the mind fully registers it. A tight jaw, shallow breathing, a clenched fist. These are early indicators of stress. By tuning into these signals, you can intervene early. Deep, deliberate breaths, gentle stretching, or a moment of stillness can prevent emotional escalation. Awareness gives you the ability to act preemptively, to regulate your nervous system before it controls your response, and to maintain composure when every instinct tells you to react. Awareness is not passive observation. It is active engagement with the present moment. It allows you to recognize triggers, understand your responses, and choose your actions consciously. Life will always present challenges. People will test your patience. Circumstances will push against your limits. But with heightened awareness, you no longer stumble blindly into stress. You see the currents before they crash. You sense the storms before they break. Awareness equips you with foresight, clarity, and control. The power of awareness compounds when combined with focus, discipline, and intentional design of your environment. Each skill amplifies the other. Awareness without action is insight without impact. Focus without awareness is energy misdirected. Discipline without awareness is rigidity without understanding. By integrating awareness into your practice, calm becomes not only achievable but sustainable. It is no longer a fleeting state that depends on circumstance. It becomes the natural expression of a mind trained to notice, to understand, and to respond with mastery. You are no longer a passenger in your own life. You are fully awake, fully present, and fully in command. Awareness transforms chaos into clarity, reactivity into choice, and tension into strength. Breathing is the anchor of calm. It is the bridge between your mind and your body, the mechanism through which awareness transforms into control. In moments of tension, your breath becomes shallow, irregular, and reactive, feeding the cycle of stress. But when you breathe with intention, slowly and deeply, you communicate to your nervous system that you are safe, that you are present, and that you are in command. Conscious breathing is not just a technique, it is a signal to your body and mind that peace is possible, even in the midst of chaos. Start by noticing your breath right now. Observe its rhythm, its depth, the way it moves through your body. You do not need to change it yet, simply observe. Awareness of breathing is the first step toward mastery. The act of observation alone calms neural activity, reduces stress hormones, and primes your mind for clarity. Then take a slow, deliberate breath in, filling your lungs completely. pausing at the top and releasing with control. Each exhale is a release, a letting go of tension, a statement that you will not be swept away by circumstance. Science confirms what ancient practices have long known: the breath regulates the nervous system. Deep, controlled breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, lowering heart rate, relaxing muscles, and clearing mental clutter. It is an immediate, accessible tool that gives you power over emotional surges. In stressful moments, this simple act transforms your physiology, turning fight or flight impulses into measured, intentional responses. Your mind becomes sharp, your body becomes grounded, and your emotions become steady. Breathing also creates space. When you slow your breath, you slow your thoughts. When you lengthen your exhale, you extend the pause between stimulus and reaction. In that pause lies choice. You are no longer at the mercy of reflex. You can respond with insight, with calm, with courage. Every conscious breath reinforces your capacity to remain steady no matter what life throws at you. It becomes a habit, a lifeline, a reminder that control is always available when you claim it. Integrating breath with focus and awareness multiplies its power. As you breathe deeply, notice where tension resides in your body. Scan your shoulders, your jaw, your chest, your hands. Release what is unnecessary. Use your breath to guide your attention, to return to the present, to anchor yourself in the reality of now. This is not passive relaxation. It is active mastery. You are consciously regulating your mind and body, shaping your internal state before external chaos can dictate it. Every breath is a choice. Every pause is an act of sovereignty. You are declaring that stress does not control you, that pressure does not define you, and that fear does not command your actions. As you practice, the power of your breath extends beyond moments of tension. It becomes a foundation, a default state that you can carry into every interaction, every decision, and every challenge. Calm is no longer fragile or fleeting. It becomes steady, reliable, and unwavering. Your breath is the proof that you are in command, the tool that converts awareness into mastery, and the constant companion on your journey toward unshakable inner peace. Your mind is a battlefield, but it is also a tool of immense power. The thoughts you entertain shape your reality, influence your emotions, and determine how you respond to every situation. When fear, doubt, or anger take control, your body reacts before your mind even processes the moment. You feel tension, anxiety, or rage, and suddenly calm seems impossible. But the truth is that your mind can be trained. Your thoughts can be directed, your focus sharpened, and your reactions rewritten. Mental discipline is the path to unshakable composure, and every moment you invest in it strengthens the foundation of your inner calm. Start by noticing the patterns in your thinking. What kinds of thoughts rise in moments of pressure? Do you spiral into worst-case scenarios, question your abilities, or blame others for circumstances beyond your control? Awareness of these patterns is the first step toward mastery. When you recognize them, you can interrupt them. You can pause, breathe, and choose a thought that empowers rather than diminishes. This is not denial or suppression. It is conscious selection. You are not a prisoner of your mind. You are its architect. The practice of reframing is transformative. Every stressful thought can be challenged, questioned, and redirected. Instead of seeing obstacles as threats, perceive them as opportunities to grow. Instead of reacting to criticism with defensiveness, see it as information you can use to improve. When your mind is trained to find clarity amidst chaos, your emotions follow. Stress loses its grip, fear loses its power, and calm becomes your default state. Neural pathways strengthen each time you practice this mental shift, creating a lasting structure of resilience that allows you to respond with wisdom instead of impulse. Focus is the companion of calm. When you anchor your mind to the present task, to the reality of this moment, the noise of external pressures fades. Distraction fuels anxiety, scattering energy and attention across imagined threats. Concentration channels your mental power, reducing stress and enhancing control. Train your mind to hold focus under pressure, to remain steady when distractions attempt to pull you away. This is how calm becomes not a reaction to circumstances, but a state you command from within. Visualization is another tool of profound power. Picture yourself handling a challenging situation with composure, responding with clarity, speaking with intention, and moving with purpose. Feel the confidence and peace that arises in this mental rehearsal. Your brain cannot distinguish vivid visualization from actual experience, and practicing these scenarios strengthens your ability to remain calm when they occur in reality. Your mind becomes familiar with mastery, and your body follows suit. Every thought you allow, every focus you direct, and every visualization you practice reinforces the internal environment of calm. The chaos outside may rage, but your inner world becomes a sanctuary. This is not magic, it is science, discipline, and consistent practice. Calm is not the absence of challenge, it is the mastery of the mind. Your mind, once trained, does not react blindly. It perceives, analyzes, and chooses action with precision. You are no longer a hostage to stress, but the commander of your own inner state. You shape your reality one thought at a time until composure becomes not only possible, but inevitable. Your body carries the story of your mind. Every tense muscle, every shallow breath, every flicker of nervous energy reflects the state of your inner world. Calm is not just a mental state, it is a physical one. The posture you hold, the way you move, and the energy you radiate all communicate to your nervous system whether you are under attack or at ease. Learning to control your body is as essential as training your mind. Your physical presence can reinforce composure, grounding your emotions and stabilizing your thoughts in even the most challenging moments. Start by observing how your body reacts to stress. Do your shoulders tighten, your jaw clench, or your stomach knot? Notice the subtle signals of tension, the unconscious responses that betray unease. Awareness is the first step toward control. Once you notice these physical patterns, you can intervene. Relax your shoulders, soften your jaw, release the tension in your hands. The act of consciously loosening your body sends a powerful message to your brain. You are safe, you are capable, and you are in command. Your nervous system recalibrates, and the surge of stress begins to fade. Movement becomes a tool of mastery. Gentle stretches, intentional walking, or even simple shifts in posture can break cycles of tension and restore clarity. When you move with awareness, you create a dialogue between mind and body that strengthens calm. Your body becomes a partner in your emotional regulation, rather than a battleground for stress. Each deliberate action reinforces the message that you control your state, not circumstance. Physical presence and mental clarity begin to operate as one seamless system, each supporting the other in maintaining equilibrium. Grounding techniques are equally vital. Feel your feet on the floor, notice the weight of your body in the chair, or press your palms together. These simple gestures anchor you in the present moment, pulling attention away from spiraling thoughts and toward tangible reality. The body cannot be simultaneously tense and fully grounded. Choosing to root yourself physically transforms your mental and emotional experience. You reclaim power over your inner state and assert control over what often feels uncontrollable. The subtle power of breathing intersects with body awareness. Deep, steady breaths, combined with physical relaxation, amplify the impact of both. Muscles loosen, heart rate slows, and mental fog clears. You are no longer reacting reflexively, you are responding intentionally. The body, the breath, and the mind converge, forming a resilient core that cannot be easily shaken by chaos outside. Stress begins to lose its grip because you no longer feed it with unconscious tension or scattered energy. Every posture you maintain, every movement you make, every gesture of presence reinforces calm. Your physical state shapes your mind as much as your thoughts shape your body. You are training your body to support resilience, to reflect strength, and to radiate composure. This is how inner peace becomes tangible, visible, and undeniable. You do not merely survive pressure, you embody mastery. Control is no longer theoretical, it lives in the rhythm of your breath, the alignment of your posture, and the stillness of your movements. Your body becomes proof of your power, and that proof strengthens your confidence, deepens your calm, and transforms every response into one of deliberate, unwavering control. Your mind reacts to patterns more than to reality. Most of the stress you feel is built on assumptions, on stories you tell yourself, on anticipations of what might happen rather than what actually exists. Calmness begins when you recognize the difference between thought and truth. When you learn to question the narratives your mind creates, you open a space for clarity. The voice of panic, the rush of anxiety, and the surge of frustration are not commands. They are signals. You can choose whether to obey them or to redirect them toward rational, empowered responses. Awareness is not enough. You must cultivate discernment. Every thought that arises is an opportunity to practice choice. Notice the moment fear whispers, "This is too much," and respond with the truth, "I can handle this." Recognize the moment anger flares and breathe into the awareness that your reaction is optional. The brain is wired to seek safety and comfort, but true calm arises when you act from courage, not avoidance. Each time you choose to respond with thoughtfulness rather than reaction, you strengthen the neural pathways of composure. You are literally rewiring your mind for peace under pressure. Focus your attention on the facts of the present moment. What is real right now? What can you control? And what lies outside your influence? Stress grows when attention drifts into the uncontrollable. By anchoring your awareness in the concrete and the actionable, you reclaim authority over your mental state. Clarity follows attention, and calm follows clarity. Every breath, every deliberate choice, every refocusing of your mind reinforces your ability to remain composed, even as chaos rages around you. Your internal dialogue is the battlefield where calm is won or lost. Words have power. The language you use to speak to yourself can build resilience or erode it. Replace self-doubt with affirmations rooted in truth. Replace negative judgments with observations that allow for growth and learning. Speak to yourself as a commander addresses their troops, firm, clear, and confident. When your mind hears conviction, your body and emotions align. Your internal narrative becomes a tool of strength rather than a trigger for weakness. Visualization amplifies this practice. Imagine handling tense situations with poise, making decisions with clarity, and maintaining control no matter the pressure. Feel the steadiness in your body, the calm in your mind, the confidence in your voice. Your brain cannot distinguish vivid practice from actual experience, and repetition creates familiarity. Soon, your nervous system responds to stress with the same confidence it rehearsed in your mind. You are building a bridge from imagination to reality, and on that bridge, calm becomes a habit, not an aspiration. Every moment you practice discernment, focus, intentional language, and visualization strengthens your inner calm. The storms outside may be unpredictable, but the sanctuary within grows more resilient with every conscious act. Your mind is no longer a passive observer of circumstance. It becomes an active shaper of your reality. You are capable, composed, and in control. Stress may knock, fear may call, and pressure may rise, but you answer with awareness, with clarity, and with unshakable calm. You are training your mind not just to survive, but to master, to transform every challenge into a stage for strength and every moment of tension into an opportunity to assert your inner power. Calmness is a skill that grows stronger with repetition, just like strength in a muscle. Every time you practice responding instead of reacting, you are training neural pathways, deepening your capacity to stay grounded under pressure. The mind begins to recognize patterns of stress and immediately triggers coping mechanisms before panic can take hold. This is not luck. It is deliberate practice. Every controlled breath, every conscious choice to pause before responding, every effort to return attention to the present moment strengthens your mental resilience and prepares you for the inevitable challenges ahead. Your perception shapes your reality more than circumstance ever will. Two people can face the same situation and experience it in entirely different ways. Calmness is born from the way you interpret events, not necessarily the events themselves. When pressure rises, when uncertainty looms, remind yourself that your perspective is your choice. You can see chaos and feel overwhelmed, or you can see opportunity and respond with precision. The more you practice choosing perception over reaction, the more your mind defaults to clarity and composure, even when everything around you is moving fast and unpredictably. Thoughts are powerful, but they are not always true. Anxiety often convinces us of danger that does not exist. Fear magnifies problems that are smaller than they seem. Recognize this tendency and make a conscious effort to separate reality from interpretation. Observe your thoughts without judgment and ask yourself, is this true? Is this helpful? Does this serve my goal of staying calm? By questioning the automatic conclusions of your mind, you create a space to respond intentionally rather than react impulsively. Your mind begins to operate like a well-trained instrument, precise and reliable, instead of a wild machine driven by emotion. Emotions are signals, not commands. The surge of fear, frustration, or irritation tells you something important about your state, but it does not dictate your behavior. Calmness is the ability to feel these emotions fully without letting them control you. You acknowledge them, breathe into them, and allow them to pass through without interference. The more you practice observing rather than reacting, the more you gain mastery over your internal state. Emotional self-control becomes a habit, and habits are the foundation of long-term mental strength. Environment affects your mind, but it does not have to control it. Noise, deadlines, conflict, and pressure can test even the strongest individuals. But when your mind is trained to remain steady, the external world becomes a set of circumstances you navigate rather than threats that overwhelm you. You begin to notice how often your reactions are dictated not by reality, but by habitual thought patterns. Once you recognize this, you reclaim authority over your inner state. You are no longer tossed about by external forces. Instead, you respond with clarity, with focus, and with deliberate intention. Calmness is cumulative. Every mindful breath, every conscious pause, every decision to observe rather than react compounds over time. You are building a fortress of composure within yourself. Inside this fortress, fear loses its power, uncertainty loses its edge, and pressure becomes an opportunity for focus and precision. Each deliberate practice strengthens your inner core and prepares you to face whatever life throws your way. You are not simply enduring challenges, you are mastering them. You are transforming stress into clarity, pressure into strength, and chaos into an arena where your calm reigns supreme. Every challenge you face is a mirror reflecting the strength of your mind. When chaos arises, it exposes the cracks in your mental armor, but it also reveals the areas where growth is possible. Calmness is not about avoiding difficulty, it is about facing it fully and intentionally, without surrendering to fear or impulse. Each time you choose composure over reaction, you are reinforcing the neural pathways of clarity, focus, and resilience. The mind is like clay. It shapes itself according to how it is used. If you allow stress and fear to dictate your thoughts, your mind will harden around panic and anxiety. If you train it with deliberate calmness, your mind will mold itself into a fortress of serenity, capable of withstanding the fiercest storms. Awareness is your most powerful weapon. When you can observe your thoughts and emotions without immediately acting on them, you gain the ability to pause, assess, and respond with intention. This simple act, the choice to notice before reacting, creates a space between stimulus and response where power resides. In this space, you decide who controls your mind, you or the moment. Every moment you seize this space, you strengthen your mental discipline. You teach your brain that it is safe to slow down, safe to breathe, safe to respond thoughtfully. Over time, these small moments of conscious control accumulate, and calmness becomes your default state, not an occasional luxury. The body and mind are inseparable. Stress manifests physically before it does mentally. Shallow breathing, tight muscles, and racing thoughts are all signs that your nervous system is activated. By consciously controlling your breath, relaxing your muscles, and grounding yourself in the present moment, you signal to your brain that there is no immediate threat. This physiological intervention rewires your stress response.